roll call columnist Jon Allen is in Washington. He's here to break it all down for us. So, Jon, I'm going to start with a question that I, if nothing else, know has no perfect answer. Just whose party is the GOP?
It's a great question, Josh. Look, I think the answer right now is it's Donald Trump's party. Paul Ryan is elected by a House district of less than 1 million people, and then once he gets to Congress is elected by the other House members. He does not have the kind of support nationally that Donald Trump right now does. So if you're looking for a leader of the Republican Party, it is the nominee. Donald Trump is about to be the nominee. That's traditionally who it is, and I think, look, there's a civil war going on here. Neither side is able to destroy the other, and as a result, you're seeing a real escalation. But for the moment, Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party.
I want to play you something that Hillary Clinton told our John Dickerson over the weekend and get you to respond on the other side. Take a look and listen.
I think that for a lot of people, again, who take their vote seriously and who really see this as a crossroads kind of election, I am asking people to come join this campaign, and I've had a lot of outreach from Republicans in the last days who say that they are interested in talking about that.
This entire election season, John, up has been down more days, it seems, than not. So are you hearing the same thing, that Republicans are now reaching across the aisle to Hillary?
Josh, I'm disappointed. I was looking forward to your Hillary Clinton impression when the clip didn't play. Look, we've seen some Republicans publicly say that they are going to support Hillary Clinton, and not just rank and file Republicans, but some of the people who are thought leaders in the Republican Party, strategists in the Republican Party, and then others say they can't fathom voting for either of them, and that they'll probably write in or do something else. So. Forget what's going on in private. We're watching it happen before our eyes in public. I think there are some outreach efforts from Republicans to the Clinton campaign, and there have been from the Clinton campaign to Republicans, particularly in the foreign policy space. We've seen that going on throughout the campaign, and it's intensified a little bit here lately. I
have a Maureen Dowd impersonation if she is then channeling Paul Ryan, so I'll do the best I can here. I want to ask you about something the New York Times columnist wrote. She envisioned the Ryan-Trump summit this Thursday and wrote that Ryan might try to say to Trump, and I quote, "No one believes that you're a genuine conservative. You supported Planned Parenthood, raising the minimum wage, and some higher taxes on the wealthy. Our people, you're Bernie Sanders with weirder hair," end quote. How might then Trump, if only in your imagination, respond to that?
Well, number one, I don't think he thinks he has weirder hair than Bernie Sanders. Certainly has a lot more of it. The thing that Donald Trump would say to that is something we've already heard, which is that Donald Trump is representative of the Republican Party, not a wing of it, not the conservative part of the Republican Party. Not that he isn't a conservative, he has said, but that he is a Republican. And I think there are a lot of Republicans, as we've witnessed with Donald Trump's victory here in the primary season. There are a lot of Republicans who feel that the various factions of the Republican Party haven't gotten them what they want, and that includes some social conservatives, and it includes some fiscal conservatives. So what Donald Trump is saying, and what he would say, and I think in response to the fictional Paul Ryan, is better to be a Republican than a conservative.
And yet, John, the numbers suggest his historic unfavorables, perhaps as bad as Hillary Clinton's are. Donald Trump's across the board are worse, and they're worse in places that the GOP is going to need them to improve if they are to win come November. You can say on one hand then that Trump's populism has trumped conservatism or policy or pragmatism, but at some point, perhaps as that start this Thursday, at some point, won't Donald Trump have to reach back to the center to have a shot come November?
What's fascinating is that some of his policies are in fact more centrist, which is why so many Republicans look at him and say he's basically a Democrat in Republican clothing. But his rhetoric is offensive to a lot of the Democratic constituencies that he would need to court to at least cut into the Democratic advantage with for a general election. If he's going to run a race that appeals only to white men and only to a certain share of white men, he's going to lose.
Can you see then, just as we saw perhaps some Republicans theoretically even leaning towards Hillary Clinton, could you see, for instance, Bernie Sanders supporters making their way with Trump?
I think there are some people who support Bernie Sanders who will vote for Donald Trump. But I think for the most part, you'll see a pretty unified Democratic Party in November. I do think that story is a little bit, we still got to wait to see what happens. And I think it's a little bit been obscured by the fight that's going on the Republican side. There certainly is a lot of mending that has to go on among Democrats, but because their coalition is so diverse, it really is an advantage for the Democrat if Donald Trump is really going to back into that very white male constituency.
It certainly sets up quite a meeting come Thursday. Roll call is Jon Allen in Washington. We appreciate the time today.
Take care, Josh.